Yeah, I'm so I'm kind of particular on that because I didn't personally start until I bought my house. I didn't personally start like really focusing in, especially the local level. So I don't know if you were talking about on a federal level or more of the
all
local level,
levels, all
but
levels.
all of it.
Yes.
You know, I feel like my vote carries more weight locally, so I tend to listen in and your propositions and stuff like that that really affect you as far as school taxes and all that stuff. So, man, I've met good people on both sides, man. And I'm gonna be honest, if I feel like the city is moving forward and good things are happening, and why change? you know, why change? Everything in my city is doing good, economically wise, and I feel like you're doing good in your position, then why change? You know, so
That's a tough one. That's a
It
tough
is.
one. That's a tough one. The reason why is because you raise a good point. And you raise something that I think Ja may be thinking the same thing I'm thinking. Everybody is not in the same position that we're in, and as a middle class people, we tend to get the least amount of effect. If you're rich, you making a gang off taxes, you doing, you hitting the loopholes, you write-offs and things like that. If you're poor, you're struggling. Every time something change, you tend to feel it a lot worse than you would if you're in the middle class range. So as a middle class citizen, you can go your whole life and not vote, and it doesn't matter to you.
mm-hmm.
So that's why it's tough to me, like, because if I'm not voting for the local and I'm not looking at what they're doing, then I'm not helping the people that's below me. You know what I'm saying?
So
Below
you
me
think
from a monetary standpoint, from what they bring in. Not, of course, not people, but you know what I'm
so you think your vote is more effective for the lower class waged people?
saying? Absolutely. The reason being is because when you start seeing, I'm gonna be honest with you, like when you start seeing stuff like tax cuts and stuff like that, to be able to apply for those things, you typically had to be middle class and above. You know what I'm saying? You think about back when Obama did the house thing. You buy a house, you get $8,000 back in your pocket. Whereas if you live in Section 8 housing, you ain't gonna see that. Or you live in an apartment, you ain't gonna see that.
No.
Well, no, I'm just saying you're not gonna see that credit. So the things that
Right.
they do see is they have several stipulations on 9 times out of 10. You know what
And
I'm saying?
they got some benefits, bro.
Oh yeah, exactly. They do have benefits, but the issue with those benefits, they come with things that keep them oppressed. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? You can get unemployment and you can get WIC benefits as long as you don't have a man in the household.
Absolutely.
Things like that.
Mm. So let me ask you this: like, whose fault is that?
The systemic racism.
You think that's a systemic, or should some accountability be placed like on that person to try to get out of that situation when you do have a helping hand?
So go ahead, J-Rod. You go for it.
I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go for it, dog. Go for it.
I was gonna say I think it's both because I think when you look at that situation, that mindset wasn't just created with that person. If you take the average, and I'm in Memphis, so in Memphis, I don't even, it's either like you living okay or you in the hood, point blank period.
I ain't listen.
And I'll be honest, be transparent. I got cousins. Man, man can do any hairdo you think of. My mom personally has said, "Look, I will pay for you to go to hair school.
Yeah.
You're around here doing hair in the kitchen for $20. You do that same hairdo for $150.
Right.
Dude, that mind is crazy. They're thinking like they're losing some. I give you another example, and then I think the systemic part is, man, they fatten that plate up real good.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah.
you get, let's say you get our black queens. You come here, I'm gonna give you this house. Man, they used to call them the Obama phones. You get your cell phone, your rent
Mm.
$20. Don't worry about no lights. I give you 400, 500, 600, $700 food stamps, and you cool. But you can't have no guy there. So what that does to a lot of the women is you thinking you
And
independent. I don't need no dude. What I'm gonna bring a dude over here for
and
and
mess up
mess
what I
up
got
all the
going.
stuff I got.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
You know what
man,
I'm saying? So now even and it's so crazy because it goes back to slavery. What did they do? What made slavery so effective is what's the first thing they did? They split the family up.
Mm-hmm.
They
they
cut the
did.
head, they cut the guy out the family. So now you have the woman, she's
Yeah.
well, back in those times, she was dependent, so whoever's taking care of her, that's who she cling to. Well, now it's almost a double-edged sword because who's the most educated race and gender? African American female.
Yeah.
So now you, on top of the systemic part, you now have it's almost not I say alpha female, but alpha female is not necessarily a bad term, but I call them the super independent one. I don't need no dude for nothing. I don't need no whatever. You can't do nothing for me. If he ain't making $125,000, $150,000, don't even come my way. And it's like, yeah, you do need to do. You know what I'm saying?
And see,
So I think that, and then I give you another example where I say I feel like they it's set up against the women. My pastor was telling a story about the lady we go to church with. Smart girl. She had single mom, was in Section 8 housing and all that. Man, ended up going back to school, getting a degree, and all that. Started applying for jobs. Dude, they wrote her a letter and basically, like, because she had gotten a degree and she's pursuing higher employment, man, they basically finna strip everything. Her low rent, her stamps, everything. Dude, she did the numbers, bro.
look at the word.
She made more money not working,
Yeah.
staying at home, than she would have made if she got a job.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
American
that's crazy.
American way. So man, I'm taking veto hat here. I'm Mr. Controversy, man, because uh, I I'm I feel like we gotta take some accountability. Like
Absolutely.
we gotta we
Mhm.
I feel like we gotta get out of that mindset of of the man holding us down, you know, and you do what you got to do till you can get better, and we're forever going to be in that that lifestyle if we continue to have that mentality. So
So
it to me it's something that you don't want to. You're going to have your people everywhere, right? Everywhere,
Mhm.
but it's just the accountability, man. Like, yeah, you made more money when you weren't in that lifestyle, but you went back to school. Now you had the opportunity to make way more money.
yeah.
But
So
So
it seems like you.
and
Go
and
ahead.
I get it. I'm definitely not saying you just fall into it, but what comes with that is you also got to have you talking to a group of people. A lot of times, like me and you, we got that mindset. Like I feel like with us,
Right.
there's nothing that can happen to us that we can't pull ourselves up. But you got to think about not you per se, but what you got to think about is resources available.
yeah.
You
It's
know what
so
I'm
many
saying?
ways you can take all that too, man. It's just so many
Yeah.
thoughts. So you know, I agree with Jason too. It does seem like it has to be some accountability.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, when you think about all that, to much is given, much is required, right? And so I kind of look at it that, hey, you know, I feel responsible from the standpoint of that. If God has blessed me,
Mm-hmm.
so much, what am I doing to help somebody else? I think it boils down to what type of person you want to be. Um, and let's just say if somebody was in an environment that they just don't know, well, the people that do know, what are they doing to influence that person in a positive way?
Yeah.
Or, what are they doing to help that person think in a different way?
Yeah.
And so again, sometimes we're going to face trials, man. We're going to face tribulations. We're going to face all kind of circumstances that we have no control over, but how do we respond to it? And I think a lot of times you don't really know who you are until you are in crisis. or until you face a problem or some type of situation that, you don't know how you're going to get out of. And to me, I think that's a part of this whole deal. Like, so many people, unemployment or, the COVID deal and losing loved ones and, everything that's going on with the this movement. I think it is causing us to stop and think, forcing us to really, in my opinion, I've been reading a lot during this time, growing my relationship with God, and trying to, figure out how can I get closer and build my relationship, but also how can I bless somebody else or be a blessing to somebody else, right? And so I think, that's important. And, with the whole deal of, the policing and all that, I don't know, we're just gonna have to be unified. To me, that's what it all comes down to, understanding that people are different. You know, it's like a band, right? And you got different instruments, unique sounds, but you're playing the same song and you're moving in the same direction. So until we can all really think like that, no matter what our traits are or characteristics, having that same mindset of being unified, to me, I think that's what it comes down to.
So, DZ, I want to give you, the last thoughts surrounding kind of what J-Star said before we segue into our last little piece, man. But basically, just what do you think about, J-Star said you have to fix that mindset. I got some final thoughts around that, but what do you think about just being able to get out of that mindset that the man is holding us down?
He's a hustler.
Well, you already know that I'm a hustler. But but I was raised by a hustler though. I mean, J Stars has been on record saying like, I don't know how your mama did it.
No way.
Jarvis has told me that a million times because my mom had 3 kids and all of us went to college. I mean, she still hustles to this day. I was talking to her the other day. She's like, "You need money?" I'm like, "No." What you have? Do you need some money? Like I don't need no money from you. But I was talking to a lady the other day, and we were kind of having the same conversation. It was a white lady, and I'm like, I was very fortunate because I could have easily have ended up way different than how I am, because you got people. If a dude tell you, "Yo, here, I'm gonna give you this book bag. I'm gonna send somebody to you. All you gotta do is give him one of these packages out of his book bag. He gonna shake your hand. You gonna put whatever he put in your hand in the book bag, and at the end of the week, I'm gonna give you $1,000. And all you gotta do is stand on this corner, right here by this at this street in this alley."
Word.
You ain't got to do nothing but stand there for 4 hours a night. From the time you get home from school to 9 o'clock at night, you stand there. If the cops come, you run this way, you throw the bag in this yard, and you just keep running and don't worry about the rest. But you know how easy that is to do?
Right.
That's $4,000 a month.
Not to mention the person just telling you to do it, you look up to.
Exactly, because this man rolling around, he got the new car, and then he always rocking the Jordans. He got the fly stuff on. Like, why would you not? Why would you not do it? Because he putting you on. You ain't. He just handed you a pair of Jordans, a new backpack, some jeans, a jacket, a chain. Like, man, come on. Like, that's love, And I'm not saying that I agree with. I'm just saying like that's what it feels like though, for those people in that position, even when you talk about food stamps and stuff like that. So you saying that if I go to work and I make $50,000, which is for most people pretty good money, but I still got 2 kids I got to put in daycare, I got to feed 2 kids, and I got to figure out how I'm gonna get back and forth to do all this other stuff, or I can keep my kids at the house. We can eat off these food stamps. This unemployment check gonna keep coming, and the weak people gonna keep dropping out cheese and milk.
Yeah.
You tell me which one.
Yeah.
It's not quite that simple.
So you feel, just to retouch, so you feel as a result of the systemic things that are in place, the systemic racism that is in place, it's hard to get out of that mindset, is what you're saying.
We'll never get out of that mindset until people decide that they're just going to do it. Because without deciding, making a decision that I'm just going to do it, it's just not going to happen.
You know, so what I'm getting from this, is we're gonna need episode 3 to resume a lot of these talks, because we can get deep. You know, before, I'm not even gonna give my final thoughts on that, because I feel like we're gonna have a continuation of this episode. But before we, what's that, J-Star?
Well, I was just gonna say, when we do discuss it, remind me to talk about like financial literacy.
Oh man, look, all that's coming. I got the guys on the call for that. You know what I'm saying?
That definitely plays a role in that, and that was brought to my attention a week or so ago.
It plays a massive role.
So I do it all the time. I'm in the school.
So with that said,
so that gets you out of that mindset that O was talking about. Yeah.
Right. So with that said, what I'm gonna give my final thoughts is not conclusive of everything that I want to say, but I'm gonna say this: if you don't know, you can't do it. Period. If you don't know, you can't do it, and that's where the gap is.
You only know what you know.
You only know what you know. People have a hard time grasping that concept, but it's fact. You know what I'm saying? You can apply it to yourself all the time, because we so fortunate. We don't think about the things that we don't know to be holding us back. We feel like when we learn something new, it's like, oh man, that's dope. I learned something new today.
We do it instinctively.
But exactly,
but otherwise, that we do know.
Right. Otherwise, people that don't know don't realize that this could be a hindrance on their life. So, we're gonna touch on that some more. What before we close on this stuff though? I want to go back to, I was watching CNN. I watch CNN every day. Unfortunately, that giant be on the TV every day.
Yeah, you do it.
It's rough, dog. It's rough. It's almost like an addiction. I'll go ahead and tell you, because it's just like I just want to be informed. But at the same time, I'm like ready to throw up at the end of the day. So, but I'm saying this, man. I was watching CNN. I was watching Don Lemon, and Dwight Howard was on there. I already took it. Shout out Dwight Howard. But anyway, man, Jason, don't even start, bro. So, but what tripped me out about this interview, man, so Don Lemon was asking Dwight about, of course, the big question: should the NBA continue? Should the NBA play? And so forth. So he was like, I know that it's some players that's against it. So Dwight chimed in. He was like, yeah, I've been talking to Kyrie like every day, and I'm just kind of with him on that. I feel like we need to stick with what's most important right now. I feel like we need to, stick with this topic, because if we don't, it's gonna take away from it. And I'm not quoting him, but I'm trying to get him in the gist of it. But he was basically saying like he was so happy to be back with the Lakers. Like, it was the best thing that happened to him in a long time, and how he was a pleasure to play with Bron. He understands, how people want to play, but he personally does not feel like it's the time to play. And so the crazy stuff that happened, I got to tell y'all about it if y'all didn't see it. It tripped me out, man, because Don asked him a simple question. He said, if the NBA does decide to play, what are you gonna do? What is your decision? My boy said, it's not about basketball right now. He looked in the camera. He put that serious. It's not about basketball right now. It's not about any of that right now. It's just about this movement right now. It's just about, being. I'm not saying he wasn't being sincere, but it was really weird.
Look,
so, bruh.
J-Rob, boy got the Dwight Howard voice, man.
Bruh, listen.
He even squared his shoulders up.
Ain't a man. But listen, bro. Then no, it wasn't even the end. What's crazy about it? He said, "Okay, I understand that." Don said, "Okay, I understand." He was wasn't frustrated, dude, professional. He was like, "I understand what you're saying. You'll answer that question when the time comes." Cool. So he said, "But I do want to ask you about Roger Goodell in the NFL and his apology, and him promoting Colin Kaepernick to get back on the team. How do you feel about that? Dwight sat back. He was like, man, I'm not in the NFL. And, they do stuff how they do stuff over there. But it's not about that right now. It's not about that.
He's just talking. He don't know what he's talking about.
It's about the movement. It's
What
about
movement?
That is the movement.
It's not about the NFL. I don't play for the NFL. It's not about, I just want to focus on the movement. I'm like, get this cat off TV, man. Because I'm like, bro, if you want to talk, if it's about the moment, talk about the moment, fam. Talk about how does that pertain to you and how you feel about that as it pertains to the moment. You know what I'm saying? But he just skipped the down, was like, appreciate Dwight, welcome back anytime, man. Have a good night. I'm like, man, get this cat off TV. You know what I'm saying? So with that, what y'all feel about the NBA, man? I'll give my little 2 cents, but I want y'all to kind of talk about what y'all feel about the NBA coming back or not, and the players that want to do it, or what y'all think?
Oh, anybody want to dive into this? I got a couple opinions. Go ahead, D. I'll let you go first.
Man, well, I mean, for me, I tell you what, if you don't play, I better see your ass doing something.
A rally or something.
Like, televised, please.
You man, do not come on here talking about you not gonna play, and you sitting up at the house resting.
Yeah.
Because I mean, honestly, they could use. I mean, this about to be crazy. If they do come back, if it happens right, they're gonna be all the players in one area, right? They literally can use every bit of the media that they have and put it all to the movement. If that's what it's really about, this about. I mean, you talk about that many guys. Excuse me, that many guys all in the same spot. I mean, they literally. I mean, that could be Black Lives Matter freaking headquarters. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, the media there, everything there. They could have that whole thing going. So don't you be sitting there talking about you're not gonna play and you're not gonna do nothing else either. Nah, I ain't gonna have that. I already think Kyrie a bomb. I already think Dwight Howard a bomb. They're about to be extra bombs to me.
He wasn't gonna play because he already the number 14 dude on the roster anyway.
Kyrie already.
Here's my thing. I look at it, and I'm a finance guy, so I try to look at it from the full economical standpoint. My thing is this. Like, I asked myself, what Colin Kaepernick, what he did, what made it so significant? If he was on the side of the street kneeling, it had the same impact as it did by him on Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, millions of people watching Monday Night Football, Sunday Night Football. You got 50, 60,000 in the stadium, millions watching on TV, and he kneeling during the national anthem. To me, that was the impact of it.
Mm-hmm.
So to say that you can't play and have that same impact, to me, is crazy. That's part of it. Because I think about Muhammad Ali, who was a bigger activist than him. He still boxed outside of when they locked him up because he wouldn't go to Vietnam.
Yeah.
Jim Brown, he still ran the football.
Yeah.
Blue Alcindor.
Good point, man. That's a good point.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, he's still on the front line. He played ball. So to say that,
out the ash.
Exactly. So to say that, I even forgot my brothers, the track guys. I just watched the documentary again, but they ran track. Yeah. But what made that so symbolic? It was the Olympics when they did the fit. So I'm like,
still
to me, there's almost what better stage to do that on, because you got the NBA come back after we ain't had no TV for 6-7 months. Everybody,
especially now when you got all that traction.
So to say that
that's exactly what I was saying.
To me, it's kind of silly. And then to piggyback off kind of what Deezy said, like, to me, you can't just say a blanket statement like that and then not back it up. Okay, you're not playing. It's bigger. So
what you gonna do?
What are you gonna be doing? So so you're not playing basketball because it's so much bigger than the cause. So what do you got in place? That's one part. And then the other part, I mean, I just think about all the unemployed people. You think about the NBA, to me, it's not just about Kyrie, the players. It's what, 13, 15 players on a team. You think about those stadiums, you got the concession people, you got you got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people
Bro,
that work
even if
that
all of
cannot
them don't come back right away, you still talking
right.
about several jobs in there.
Several jobs. So I'm like, so to me, I mean, I get it if that's your. I just feel like I get what you say, but I do feel like you got to kind of use timing when you say certain things, especially when you look like us. Because I think a statement like that can, if you're not careful, it can be more detrimental to the cause than it can be positive for the cause.
Jay start chomping at the bit. Get it, bro.
Man, bro, y'all make some good points. It's making me rethink what I was gonna say, man. I'm gonna be honest, I ain't even thinking about it like that, man. Like with Arthur Ashe and stuff. So when I first heard it, I understood it because Steven Jackson, y'all familiar with Steven Jackson, right? So he said the same thing. He was like, man, I love the NBA, but they don't really need to play right now. And the truth of the matter is, bro, Kyrie's right. I feel like if the NBA is played, it's gonna take the mind off of everybody. So I think that's why the movement was so big, because nobody was doing anything. There was nothing on TV to distract you. And I think that sports can be a distraction for certain people.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
I think it's how you use it though, right? How you use your gifts and talents to affect change, right? So let's just say that they play, and then they within that event they do something to honor the cause, right? I mean, so I think it's whatever talents and gifts you blessed with. How do you use it? What are you doing? Good.
Do you remember though? Do you remember when I think it was the Trayvon Martin thing happened, or one of them? All of them were wearing the T-shirts.
Eric Garner
too.
Huh?
I think it was Eric Garner. I Can't Breathe.
Yeah, I Can't Breathe shirt.
And they did Trayvon.
So do you feel like when they were wearing that I Can't Breathe shirt that they were making a big difference or a big change at that time?
I'm gonna let you get in there because I know you had something you want to say, but then I'm gonna answer that too. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, he pretty much went where I was gonna go with it. I'm gonna answer the question the way I see it. Your question, J Star. No, I don't feel like you had a lot of change at that moment. But we're in a different time right now. We talked about that earlier. This is not the same time that we was in then. And they also weren't doing much outside of just the T-shirts. I mean, they could really give this whole 2-month event that's about to happen. That's gonna start at 10 o'clock in the morning, and the last game I think is gonna start at 11 o'clock at night. They could give all of that.
Yeah. You think about the people that's into it. You think about the people that may be, depressed or, just
more with that.
You know what I'm saying? Like that, that basketball is just their way of coping or helping them coping, or sports period, right? Just think about from that perspective, again, using your gifts and talents in a positive way. When you think about, the statement you made, J Star, I think it comes down to, what you're doing, is it insensitive? And what is it gonna change? What's the outcome? What are the results behind it? How can it, potentially be affect somebody in a negative way too?
I think it's focus, at that point. You're taking the focus away. But my answer, while I do understand Kyrie, my answer is kind of hypocritical because I also question, like, well, at what point will it be good? So if we're not there next season, do you sit out that season? So
he's gonna be healthy then.
My answer is kind of
right. He gonna be ready.
My answer is kind of hypocritical and conflicting because I wonder what happens if you don't, and nothing changes next year.
So
because they're gonna be starting in December, the new season, or November.
It was December.
It's December.
Yeah, you're right.
It was Christmas Day.
Okay.
So I'm gonna hit you with this then. So I'm gonna go from place of a hooper. Like I used to ball, all through grade school, high school, stuff like that. J-Rock used to ball. I know everybody on this call played ball at some point, but me and J-Rock probably ball from a different perspective, as it's something that we might want to continue to do. So we took it like it was heavy for us. And J-Rock, you tell me if I'm lying, but you name a time when you played ball that your heart was heavy, or you had something that happened, or you felt like, your mom may be sick. Bruh, those are some of the most passionate games you'll ever play. That's some of the best basketball you'll ever play. A lot of, and it don't work the same for everybody. And it don't necessarily mean that every game is going to be, great, but it's still some of the most passionate ball you're going to ever play because you feel every bit of it. So I'm saying that to say these guys that actually feel this stuff, you got timeouts that they talk to media, you got halftime, you got pregame, you got postgame, all those opportunities to let that passion show and let that passion pour, to talk about this movement and talk about how important it is to you, can come through, and we'll be able to see these guys a lot more. These are people that a lot of kids look up to anyway.
Yeah, they got major influence.
So you putting a face to that passion, that game that people love. Like, bro, I love basketball dearly, bro. I get chills thinking about it. I ain't hooped in over a year, but still, it's still in me that, like, bro, I just love ball. So I'm older and I'm not easily influenced, but these kids that's watching, and anybody that is young and able to be molded, this is the perfect, to me, opportunity for players like LeBron, players like Kyrie, players like Russ Westbrook. Westbrook gonna bring it. You know what I'm saying? I want to see
Rondo too. Rajon Rondo too.
Oh yeah, Rondo. Yeah, can't leave Rondo out. That's Jason.
That's the J style, man.
But man, bro, for real though, I want to see those guys' faces. I want to see that passion. I want to see that pain. I want to see that hurt, and I want to see it out there on the court, because I don't think for 1 minute, knowing how I feel about basketball and knowing that they make millions off of it and they feel even stronger about it than I do, bro, I can only imagine how much they're going to bring, because like O stated earlier, it's a different time, man. It's a totally different time. When those things happen, it was just another person, because I'm telling you that, like, the gruesome part of it and all that stuff is no different than Emmett Till set a bar for that, bro. Like, Emmett Till was unrecognizable. So we can't say that George Floyd was different than any of these other people, other than the fact we all locked in the house. We all got COVID-19. We all got time to sit down and think and empathize, just to run back some of the things we said on this call. So while, playing ball may take away from the movement, but the LeBron that I see on TV, I don't know him personally, but the LeBron I see on TV, the things that man doing, I don't think that him playing ball is going to move him away from this moment. I think that him playing ball is just give them a bigger platform. And that's just me.
Yeah, I do think it does give them a bigger platform, but at the same time, I can understand why one would think that it would take away from the bigger platform.
I guess my question would be,
because they're not thinking about it big terms.
Yeah, I guess my question would be, what exactly are we taking away? Because right now, all the movement that we're getting is surrounding criminal justice reform, police reform, now transgender reform, like laws and stuff like that. It's hitting little laws here and there. I don't know how basketball would stop that traction where, if they continue to voice it, I don't see exactly how it'll stop that traction. I'm going to be honest with you, and most people probably would not agree with me. I'm to the point where I'm ready to stop seeing the protests happen. I'm not afraid of that, to say that. I'm kind of to the point where I'm ready to stop seeing the protests happen, and we start protesting in more intellectual settings, to where we making these changes continue beyond, because people are not going to be able to stay in the street forever. People are not going to be able, they got to go to work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I feel like it's time to continue to move on to that next thing, to that next step, bro, because we still giving these antagonizers the opportunity to make us look bad by burning up stuff, by doing stuff like that. You know, we can continue to overlook that, but bro, it's a problem because people still dying. You know, if it's just one person in 5 days, I don't want to see that one person die because people are protest. Somebody just got shot today during a protest. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not acceptable.
Right.
But I ain't trying to change your mind. I get what you're saying, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I understand it. You know, I can just understand at least the thought process behind not wanting to lose focus. And you're right, the focus at some point is gonna stop. You know, so and that's probably gonna be before July 31st. You know, and then I mean maybe a good time to pick back up on it. And you're right, Vito. We're not gonna be able to protest every weekend for the rest of the year. You know, at some point we got to get into the meat of it and what matters. But
yeah,
man, your boy protested 3 days, and I was tired, son. I was done. You know, so it can't go that far, that long.
And I agree with what y'all saying, and John made a point on this. It's like I think it has a more long-term effect versus right now. It's a matter of momentum. You know, we got the ear. You don't want to lose the momentum, but long-term wise, you could probably have a lasting effect to a younger person or somebody who's thinking about making that move. And then they can use that platform to say, all right, this is the way you're supposed to talk to the police.
But couldn't you imagine, though, if every interview LeBron James does during the next 2 months, he talks about it, how much traction that is?
Yeah.
Well, guys, you
got a big ear.
This was amazing. Like, I feel like I'm gonna get y'all input on it. You know, is this what we're doing next? I mean, I don't care about it being a hot topic. I want it to be the topic that we focus on to where, because we didn't even get to what we want to see done. We didn't get to how we're gonna help we having good conversation around it, and I think we got some good opinions and everything about it. Give a lot of different perspectives, but I'm thinking the next episode we're gonna hit back on this and continue to try to make a change, continue to try to make a move, guys. So appreciate y'all, man. We're gonna close the call, and HBCU out.
Peace.